Welcome to the Will Coca Podcast. Another 5-Minute Friday starts now. I was talking to a good friend yesterday on the phone about how delicate motivation can be. It feeds into itself, right? When you choose good things or healthy things, your body craves more of that. But that moment is so fragile. We both had experiences where we got into a routine of doing some sort of sport. For me, it was running. For him, it was jujitsu. I had an injury. He had a health issue. And just like that, all that momentum is gone. The steam is completely out of it. You know, I've heard that it takes 2 weeks to build a good habit. I can't wrap my mind around that truth. Here's why. There are many things I've done in my life for 2 weeks that I've had no interest to keep going, or that have collapsed at the first sign of any crack in the foundation. I've always had a hard time setting apart the habit and the destination, or the goal. I see habits now as the work to get there. But how do you keep those habits going when life happens? A good example is my collegiate career. It ended just as quickly as it started, and I would make fun of it. But deep down inside, it was something I wish I would have stuck with a little bit longer or found a different way. My goal out of high school was to become a history teacher. I was a history and political science major. And one day I met with my counselor. I was struggling. My grades weren't good, and frankly, I was skipping a lot of classes at that time because I just couldn't understand how to school. She looked at me and said, "Will, I think you learn differently. I don't think you've been set up to succeed." And maybe she was right. School has never been easy for me. But I didn't have the tools as an 18-year-old to really dive in and unpack everything she told me that day. At that moment, I decided I'm done. I'm going to pursue other opportunities because maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm damaged goods now. The dream of one day being a history teacher seemed unattainable. You see, it's not unlike my friend pursuing his goal in jiu-jitsu and then having a health issue, or my running injury last summer that prevented me from doing any racing. How do we stay in the arena instead of bailing out? How do we keep a presence in that thing that we love when life makes it so difficult or veers us from the path that we thought we should take? I used to think that I didn't know enough, but I don't think information is my problem. I think it's action. I quickly become a victim of my own shame and it spirals. Like I told my friend, this is where you go back to the things that you remember gave you comfort. And comfort should not be mistaken for progress. I truly believe that there is power in momentum. I think every little small step builds into bigger steps. And I think it's important to celebrate those small wins because you're still in the game. Just because you might be on the bench for a while doesn't mean you're not part of the team. If I could talk to my 18-year-old self, there's a lot I would say. I think I would start out by saying, try your hardest to just stay in or around the path you want to take and find ways, as small as they might be, to find those wins. Small victories will add up to a big one day. So you hit your first speed bump in college. So what? You learn a little bit different. That's unique to you. Your story now is a little different than everyone else's. Find a way to make that a plus. And be kind to yourself. It's going to be okay. There are no wrong answers here. You are in charge of writing where you go next. And after all, like the saying says, where there's a will, there's a way. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. That has been another 5-Minute Friday. We'll catch you next week.